Tuesday, the 29th of April is the second trading day of the week. Welcome to your Frontier opening bell, everyone. So we've got just a few more sessions and we're done with the month of April, the first month in the second quarter of the year. Let me just walk you through, as always, through the equity side of things. Market is where everything do come together. So keep that in mind. The Nigerian market started the week 0.35% on the upside. The big names in the banking sector did several billions of naira in local currency. As far as the trading day was concerned, Artesco, Fidelity, UBA, Gitco, then you've got Nigerian breweries reporting its first quarter earnings. Earnings is the big story, as it were, for many of the markets across Frontier Africa. Seplat Energy, listed on both Lagos and London exchanges, also reported a robust first quarter numbers overnight. That also came in today. The market also pricing in latest first quarter numbers from a big name such as Cadbury Nigeria, saying it believes there's going to be more domestic demand when it comes to its products locally, despite being pressured. Consumer spending pressured in Nigeria reports a very robust first quarter. So we're seeing these numbers coming through, including the Nigerian bureaus, and investors are just pricing that in as we move on towards the deep end of the first half of the year. But let me just move on. The BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire was down 0.5%. Yesterday, the Ghana market eked out just 6 basis points. That's West Africa for you. North Africa, the Egyptian stock market started the rest of the week with us, with the EGX 30 up by 0.5%. If you get out of that market, you look at the Nairobi stock market down by 0.25% on Monday. The GSC was closed yesterday for a public holiday, 90,720 when the market finished on Friday. The Casablanca stock market was up very strongly yesterday as well. If you look at the Dar es Salaam stock market, that was 0.8%. Uganda was better by 0.13%. In currencies, just quickly, the CFA franc in West Africa finished 578.05 on the dollar, and the Nigerian currency saw 0.40% downside on the US dollar, 1,602. The dollar index itself finished Monday evening a little bit in the red, still below the 100 reading for the DXY, that's the dollar index. But let's just get out of the markets numbers and get into see a couple of the big headlines across the regions. And starting as always on the East Coast, with Ethiopia reporting is set to finalize a $3.4 billion fresh deal with the International Monetary Fund. That is expected to come through in the next couple of days. Kenya Airways says it's out in 9 destinations in that a code share deal with Starlink, or Safarilink, I beg your pardon. That is one. Good news for Kenya Airways, reporting its first positive earnings for the full year 2024, and we expect that to continue in the current year. We've got a couple of more earnings news in the corporate news on the show as we move on. Gabon says it's getting support for debt reprofiling and new financing to support the small African economy in the sub-Saharan Africa. I&M Bank of Kenya says it's raising tariffs on some of its services with effect from the 24th of May. Keep that in mind. I&M Bank operating not just out of Kenya, out of Rwanda and a few other East African countries. Then Djibouti's Tamini Insurance has gotten the approval of the authorities to buy 65% equity stake in Takaful Insurance. That's big news across the Sahel and the Horn of Africa, where Djibouti is located. Let me take you to West Africa. Check through a couple of numbers. Today, the AVCA, that's the African Venture Capital Association, venture capitals, private equity folks are coming all over the continent into Lagos to start their 2-day annual conference. We're keeping an eye on that for you. In the meantime, yesterday, the Central Bank of Nigeria issued a statement to the business and the markets community that it has further relaxed the rules around the use of the Pan-African Payment Settlement System, PAPSS, for intra-Africa trade between Nigeria and any other country on the African continent. The further relaxation, for example, now says you can do $2,000 on an individual basis for transactions within the intra-Africa trade and the AFCFTA platform, with just using the normal KYC and the AML rules of transactions set for banks in Nigeria. There are about other four steps that the central bank also announced that will help ease the intra-Africa trade using the naira for payment across the continent. Some good news, one step further for Nigeria and for the entire AFCFTA. Omni Retail says it's raised $20 million to expand fast-moving consumer goods distribution across West Africa. In the meantime, Arua Fund says his second fund has hit 90% of its target, $35 million so far raised, and is backing gender-based projects across the continent. And cocoa prices dipped very sharply, roughly 5%, to about $8,930 per metric ton on Monday evening, as Ivory Coast reported rainfalls will help boost its cocoa bean output for mid-crop season. That's according to farmers in Côte d'Ivoire, the world's largest cocoa producer. Burkina Faso, however, says it has launched 5,000 annual tarred roads project, and the military junta has also provided 900 machines for local contractors to do the job. Congratulations. Let's move on. Go to Southern Africa with me. Rhino Resources may beat Total Energies, the Italian or the French energy giant, as Namibia's first oil producer. In the meantime, Kaya Cement in Zimbabwe is set to host a shareholders' extraordinary general meeting on May the 19th. The idea is to discuss a self-delisting from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. Mozambique, the country says it earned $220 million in international tourism inflows for last year. Staying with Zimbabwe, the European Union has reaffirmed its duty-free trade access for the country, while the IMF says Zimbabwe's economy will grow 6% this year, but revised lower to 4.5% for 2026. And finally, staying in the region, Zimbabwe's third largest platinum producer, UNKI mine, posted a 15% decline in gold production. That's about 53,600 ounces of gold in the first quarter of the year, January to March. Let me take it all the way to the north. Afrexim Bank, the African Export-Import Bank, has floated a $3 billion revolving intra-Africa oil import financing program to support countries struggling with oil imports across the continent. We look at oil prices and the whole geopolitics and the impact on oil demand and production, and then, of course, the exchange rate issues and all of that. $3 billion is what the Afrexim Bank is putting on the table. In Morocco, Airbus yesterday announced it's concluded the purchase of 25,000 square meters facility belonging to Spirit Aerosystems in Morocco. The idea is to expand Airbus operations in the North African economy. That deal comes at $439 million US. That further cements Morocco's position as Africa's #1 aero services economy. Moved further within the region, Tunisia and Vietnam says they're boosting economic and trade ties, while the RRSC says in consortium with others, it has pulling resources together to bring additional 75 megawatts of solar energy to Egypt, raising the country's total renewable energy size. And those are some of the headlines we're tracking for you as we get the new Business and Markets Week going. It's your Frontier opening bell, Tuesday, the 29th of April. I am Bosun Numafai. Have yourself a great Tuesday.